we're going to be covering is building your business through building relationships. And we're going to take about an hour to do that, so thank you for joining us, and here we're going to start. Let's talk about the very first page, how to cultivate relationships, how to cultivate them. You know, networking is an overused term, yet it works today in today's culture. Be available to help, give advice, or seek your knowledge and expertise on specific needs. If they benefit you, then you will benefit. Whom are you networking with? Anyone? At all? Let's take a look. Are you building real estate relationships? If this is someone you have known for a while, a past customer or friend you have not seen in some time, the first thing to do is either drop in to see them or to call and reintroduce yourself. What was it that Jim showed us a little while ago? He showed us a little something that you could give on a pop-by. He called it a pop-by. Right. Who uses that term, pop-by? Brian Buffini. It really works, doesn't it? Right? And what if we haven't seen somebody in a while? We're going to talk about that. How do you reestablish a relationship? You know, ask permission to stay in touch and ask for a referral in a soft and general way. That's what we're going to be talking about now for the next hour. Let's talk about building relationships. Always be available as their realtor of choice, or in other words, do you know of someone who needs a realtor to help them with their real estate needs? It's important that we reach out to them and see if they would like a monthly update on their neighborhood's real estate values. I'm in Walmart, standing in line, and I happen to be dressed as a realtor. I've got my name tag on, right? I don't have my work clothes on. I have work clothes in the sense I've been out in the yard. And there's somebody that's in line in front of me, and I tap them on the shoulder. I say, hi, I'm Ken Durkee, and I'm in real estate. May I ask you a question? And they say, sure, go ahead. What you got? I said, I'd like to have you do me a favor. I'd like to be able to present to you 2 of my business cards. And the reason I'm giving you 2 cards is one that you can keep yourself and one that you can give to someone if they have a real estate need. And would you do me a favor in that, would you keep at least one of those cards in case you ever have a real estate need? By the way, let me ask you a question. Are you interested in what's going on in real estate today? Especially what you see in the news and how the market's behaving and the value of properties and what's occurring?
Oh, yeah.
Would it be offensive to you if I sent you an email once a month to update you on what's going on in the marketplace? And by the way, you can delete it if you want to. But all right, may I have your email address? Do you have a moment to give that to me? Let me jot that down. And Stu gives me his email address. And then I do that again. And then I do that again. And I do that again. What if I did that little ditty there twice a day? So I hand out 4 business cards a day, right, to 2 people. So at the end of 4 days, not 5, I'm only working a 4-day week. So Tuesday, if I get to the end of the week, I've met how many people? 8? And there's 4 weeks to a month. So that'd be 32 people a month, right? Times 10 months. I'm going to take a couple of months off. I'm in real estate. You know how that is. You know, you just, from November to Super Bowl, kind of, back out of the market a little bit. So I'm really working 10 months. So that's 320 people that I've had contact with. What percentage of those people might give me a call because I'm staying in touch with them every month through our Executive Edge drip email program? Well, let's say 10. And out of that, half of them decided to do business with us. That'd be 32 divided by 2, which is what? 16? What's the average commission on that sale for me? $2,000? Okay, so 2,000 times 16 is 32 grand. All right. So I can make $32,000 just by meeting 2 people a day that I've never met before and have a relationship with them that they don't feel threatened. That I can stay in touch with them about what's going on in the marketplace. And over a period of a year, a small percentage of those, whatever it is, right? We said 10%, you said 20, but I think it'll be less than that. Let's just say 10. And only half of those, which is really what, 5%? We're talking about 5% agree to do business with us because we stayed in touch. Would that make us some money? Why won't we do it? Fear of rejection? Well, what if they do reject us? Is that okay? Because what I'm looking for is people that are willing to receive information from me, and I need to sift those who don't want to have information from me to find those that do. Does that make sense? Yeah, I want to sift through. I want to find out where the no's are. And I also need to know what? If I want to make 32 grand a year just off the top without anything else, how many folks do I need to contact each week for that to happen? If I'm only making 2 contacts a day and one of them rejects me, I've got to find a third one, don't I? Or maybe a fourth one, because maybe 50% of the people I talk to don't brush me off. So that's okay. I attempt to hand out cards to 4 people, but only 2 of them, like Stu, took them. Why do I hand out 2 cards and not 1? Pardon? Twice the business. It could be, but have you ever gotten something from somebody when you've been standing out? They've been standing out in front of a store, and they're handing out stuff, and you get a hold of it, and you take it, right? Well, you're not going to lose it. You do what to it? Right? You throw it away. What did I ask him twice? Please do me a favor and keep my card. And I made eye contact with him when I asked that. And he nodded his head that he would. The reason I gave him the second card was, I gave him the reason was what, Dave? I said that he could then tell somebody else, right? And if I could help them, that'd be great. But I really gave him the second card so he could throw it away. Yeah. Gave him the second card so he could throw it away. Because that's what he wants to do with it anyway. Right, Steve?
Could be.
Could be. All right. So I want to be their realtor of choice. I use that as a phrase because people may have relationships with realtors. I'd like to have me be considered as one of those people that they have relationships with. And as I build that relationship with them, I would like to be their realtor of choice. Or you could phrase it a little differently. Do you know of someone who needs a realtor to help them with their real estate needs? If you have a need, I'd love to be that person. Let's talk about building relationships. In the old days, before the internet and cell phones, real estate professionals built their business the old-fashioned way, by meeting and building relationships with those around them in person. Yesterday versus today. Can we dare to go backwards and do the things our predecessors did in order to be successful? I think we can. Let's see what we need to do. In the old days, back in the late 70s, when we didn't have the internet, gosh, the only way we could really stay in touch with people is through the mail. You all remember the days when we used to buy a whole box of newsletters? They had recipes and all kinds of printed up real nice, right? And we used to do what? Go through RL Polk, and we would get the addresses of those people through the Polk directory, and then we'd type up labels and stick the labels on there. And then we'd go to the store and buy these little round dots, and we'd peel them off and fold up the newsletter and put the dot on it. And then we would carrier sort them into a box and take them to the post office. Do you remember doing it? Some of you haven't been around long enough. Yeah. How much did we used to pay for those things? A couple $100 a month? And you include the postage. We were religious about it. We had to send them out, let people know who we are and what we did. But what we were trying to do at that time was do what? Build a relationship with somebody by giving them something. We were using the law of psychological reciprocity. Jen, you know what that is, right? The law of psychological reciprocity? Yeah. She's nodding to Jeff. Yes, absolutely. I know what that is. Jeff says, yes. I remember. Tell me what it is. The law of psychological reciprocity works like this. Ron, I'd like to give you something and ask for nothing in return. And then I'm going to give you something else and ask for nothing in return. And then I'm going to give you something else and ask for nothing in return. And then I'm going to give you something else and ask for nothing in return. And that's over a period of time. It could be over 6 months. It could be over a year. With the hope that when you have a need that relates to my industry, that when you have that need, you're going to say, Ken has been doing this stuff for me over a period of time. At least I can do is give him a call just to see whether or not he wants to help me with my particular need. That's what the law of psychological reciprocity is. That's why I want to send stuff to Stu on a regular basis, because I met him at Walmart. He allowed me to talk to him because I was identified. Please have your name tag on. Thanks for doing that, Stan. I'm glad you have your name tag on. That's great. Fran, all your people have name tags on. I think that's marvelous. It shows that they're professional and they want to reach out and let people know what they do for a living. That's super. And so when you walk up to somebody and you show them your name tag and you tell them in real estate, they'll talk to you. Have you ever been to a cocktail party? And you're standing around visiting with people, and one of them sells insurance, and one of them sells real estate. Which one do they hang around more? The one that sells real estate, right? Why? Because they're very interested in what that person has to say about what's going in the marketplace. That's why you're willing to receive an email from me that you can delete every month to find out what's going on in the marketplace. That's what's neat about it. Okay, let's take a look. Do we wish to reach those who generate leads for us? Here, who do we wish to reach? Those who generate leads for us. And we came up with 5 areas. There may be more, but these are 5. One is past customers. The other is close circle of friends, business affiliates, non-business relationships. And the last one, which is called a non-solicited lead, That would be your website where somebody keys on and decides they want information. Haven't met them in the past. Don't know who they are. And yet that's someone you need to start to stay in touch with, because that's what we call an unsolicited lead. All right, we're going to be talking about those people that we do know. Now, why do we cultivate these relationships? Well, first, existing relationships bring us business. 2, new relationships spring from current relationships. 3, opening the door, thereby generating referrals for future business. And 4, directly improves our bottom line. Let's talk about the past customers again. These are our customers who we sold their house or helped someone purchase a home. And our purpose is to stay in touch with our past customers using the same process no matter how far back the transaction. You've heard this over and over and over again, right? We need to stay in touch with our past customers, but sometimes we just don't do it. I mean, you know what to do, but the key is, do you have an action plan in place that actually does that? When we get to the end of the program, we're going to have an action plan drawn out for you. It's going to be an outline form so you can see what you need to do. So let's take a look at the quality of the relationship. Is it excellent, good, or poor? On excellent relationships, great relationships throughout the buying or selling process. That's when after it was done, they liked you, and you stayed in touch with them a little bit. More than just a transaction, it was a friendship actually emerged from it, and you are top of the mind when a new transaction is being considered. So instead of trying to remember your name 3 years later, 5 years later, you've been staying in touch often enough that when they decided they want to put their house on the market, they give you a call. Now, if the relationship is excellent, then here's the process I want you to consider. Speak with them no less than once a month. All right, that sounds reasonable. That's a call, right? 2, send a handwritten note quarterly. How many of you received a handwritten note lately from anybody? 1 hand? Honestly, 2 hands, 3 hands? The rest of you haven't received a note from anybody? A personal note? If you did receive a personal note, what would you think of it? Those that haven't had one lately. What'd you say, Frank?
I think they're trying to tell me something.
Oh, you might? What if I give you a script and what should be on that note, and it sounds like I'm not looking for anything in return? Do you remember the law of psychological reciprocity? I never asked for anything in return, Ron. I was chairman of the Ethics Commission for the city of Jacksonville for 3 years and on the commission for 5. And what we tried to do was to teach the people in the city to be careful of giving preferential treatment to someone. Because there was a law that was written that you couldn't give a gift to any city employee for more than $100 a day. It was an interesting law, wasn't it? And you didn't have to document it. You could get a gift of up to $100 a day based on the law. Now, if you're in zoning and you kept getting flowers, candy, whatnot, and on your desk was a stack of zoning requests that was this high, and then you got a request from me, right? And I'd been giving the flowers and the candy and maybe tickets to a show in town and so on. Everything's under $100. When my request for zoning comes in, where do you think it goes? On the bottom of the stack? I didn't ask for anything. But you see, that person feels they need to respond. So what do? Put it on the top. See, that's why when we send that note out, we don't ask for anything in return. What we're doing, and we'll show you what the wording is on it. Email information only after speaking to them and relating to them the specific topic of the email. You know they get a lot of junk. But if you find out what they want, why not send that to them? They would have a tendency then to read it than they would then if there's just something coming to you monthly and they just leave it alone. Drop in and see them from time to time and ask for referrals in all communications because you know them, because the relationship is excellent. Here's the script for the phone call. Hi, Mary. This is Ken Durkee. Hope everyone is well. Did you happen to see my note I sent the other day? She's nodding her head. I can't see that on the phone, but she's nodding her head. Well, I hope you found the information helpful. Do you have any questions on the information? The other reason I'm calling is to see if I would be able to, if you'd be able to do me a favor. Do you happen to know of anyone who has a real estate need or would consider giving my name or contact information? Yes or no? Okay, great. What if she says no? It's okay. Because I'm doing is what? Reminding her that I'm in the business. That's all I'm doing. And how many times does she run across somebody that has a real estate need, and because I didn't do that, she just blew it off. But if I stay in touch with her on a regular basis and the need pops up, then she comes back and says, oh, yeah, matter of fact, Ken, I was thinking about somebody the other week. You know, you called and reminded me, and thanks for calling me back. I have another name, and I'd like to pass it on to you. Script for the drop-in. Hey, Bill. Good to see you. How's the family? I have a small token I'd like to give to you. That's what we're picking up from Harris Printers. And by the way, I'm dropping by to touch base with you to see how everything's going. And, oh, by the way, I was wondering if you'd be able to do me a favor. If you happen to know of anyone who has a real estate need, or would you consider giving them my name and contact information?
Absolutely.
Well, thanks, Bill. Great. And then you pick it up after that. Here's the script for the handwritten note. Jay, hey, this is just a note to let you know how much I appreciate you and your friendship. I hope to drop by in the future and catch up. Warm regards, Ken Durkee. Yeah, it's kind of nice. Kind of warm, kind of fuzzy. Did I ask for anything? No. Just let them know I appreciate them, and a little heads up. Well, what's a good relationship? Well, it's you closed a positive transaction, occasional contact once over the past 12 months. Last contact was at least cordial. Chance of reestablishing a relationship is probably pretty good to excellent, resulting in potential referrals. If the relationship is good, speak with them every other month and discuss issues that may build a better rapport with them. Stay in touch with monthly emails on topics that interest them. If the relationship is improving them, send a handwritten note every other month, otherwise quarterly, and ask for referrals in every correspondence. Poor relationship. No contact after closing. You may not remember that you're in real estate. Poor relationship. Well, we're going to have to reintroduce ourselves. We're going to have to touch base with them at least quarterly about general topics, email them monthly, and when we do chit-chat with them, just asking for a referral. Here's the reintroduction script. Bill, we've lost touch, and so I'm calling back. Hi, Bill. This is Ken Durkee. You may not remember me, but a while back I helped you and your family purchase a house. And I just wanted to let you know that I'm still in the real estate business, and wanted to know if I can reestablish communications with you and Joanne. May I begin sending you occasional emails that relate to property values in your market? May I have your email address? And then we continue to visit. How many of us are afraid to make that call to somebody that we haven't talked to in a couple of 3 years and we have a transaction with them? Okay, Mary, you're being honest. You're the only one, but I bet you a lot of folks are thinking, I don't know what to say. I haven't seen them. We did have a decent relationship when we had the transaction, but it's kind of fallen by the wayside. How can I open back up? Well, try something like that. And you can make it kind of funny, just like I did. Hi, Bill, this is Ken Durkee. You may not remember. See, you may not remember me. Instead of putting him on the mark, which is what? Yeah, you may not remember me. I helped you buy the house about 3 years ago. Oh, yeah, I do remember. Well, I've lost touch base. I haven't touched base with you in a while. I've kind of lost contact, and I'd just like to reestablish a relationship with you. That's okay. Well, just want to let you know I'm still in the business. And that's the purpose of that. It's a very easy, laid-back, relaxed way to contact. Circle of friends. Speak to them no less than once a month. Send a handwritten note quarterly. Email information only after speaking to them and relating to them the specific topic of the email. Drop by and see them from time to time. Ask for referrals from all communications. Your circle of friends are very close. Here's a script for a phone call for them. Hey, Bill, I just wanted to touch base with you and see how you're doing. Well, we're doing fine, too, thanks. I just wanted to remind you that I'm still in the real estate business and was wondering if you knew of anyone who may need help in selling their property or is thinking of buying a new property. While I have you on the phone, could I take just a minute to ask you to brainstorm with me to see if you have bumped into someone recently who may have a need? That's somebody it's a friend, somebody I know intimately. How often do we not talk to our friends about our business? Quite a bit, don't we? When was the last time a friend asked you, are you still in the business? Oops. Some of you are smiling like, yeah, I've had that conversation. If they say that ought to strike a chord. That means I'm not staying in touch with the people that I know and care about me, and I care about them to let them know that I'm still in the business. So, here's a script for that. Script for a drop-by or drop-in. Hey, George. Do you know of anyone who has a real estate need? Please let them know that I'd love to help them in the meeting, meeting that need. May I leave a few of my cards behind just in case you think of someone. Again, you drop by, you know George, George knows you, so you don't have to go through a lot of introduction. You're not rebuilding rapport. You just say, hey, just want to drop by and see how you're doing. And by the way, do you know of anyone that has a real estate need? How many of us don't ask our friends for help? How many of us are too prideful to ask for help? Yeah. They should know I'm in real estate, right? I mean, I've been in real estate. Ellen, how long have you been in real estate? A couple of years. They ought to remember that I'm in real estate, right? Yeah, they should. No. We need to, we need to stop by and see them. Give them a little something. Possible script for a handwritten note for these people. Dear Mary, I just want to take a moment to say hi and tell you how much I appreciate our friendship. If you happen to discover someone needing real estate help, please let me know. Thank you. This time I am asking Frank because they're an intimate friend. That's okay to do. Let me ask you a question. If I picked up the phone and called any one of you and said, hey, Don, this is Ken. I need some help. Can you help me with something? Probably your answer was, well, let me find out what it is, and if I can, I will. Right? You said, sure, but, there is a qualification on it. There's some things you just can't do. But the point of it is, if I ask and we know each other, probably the attitude is, yeah, if I can, let me see what I can do to help. The problem is that we're not doing this. Now, what I want to do at the end is give you a format that you can build into your calendar where this becomes automatic, doesn't take very much time, and it really starts to build your business back. It really starts to build it back. All right, business affiliates. Now these are folks that you do business with. For example, mortgage, title, termite, survey, inspections, home warranty, plumbing, carpet, appliances, hardware, etc. What if I could work out a relationship with these people where I could send them leads and they could send me leads? What if I came up with a preferred list of folks that every time I did a transaction, now some people will say, well, my errors and omissions insurance guard against this. Maybe I shouldn't list people because they have a bad transaction with that person. They'll come back and sue me. You got to weigh that. But what if I have a preferred list of people that, when you have a transaction, they say, well, who should I go to on this? You know the people better than I do. I'm from out of town. I don't know anybody. Well, here are people that I have a working relationship with that I know and I trust. I'm not saying that you won't have a bad relationship with them or a good relationship. I just know them and I trust them, and they'll treat you fairly, I believe. Well, then fine. Now, they happen to know people that are bumping in, and as they meet them and so on, they tell them what? That they're moving out of town or they may have a real estate need, and now they begin to send you referrals. So you're referring to them business. Folks want to fix their house up before they sell, well, they're going to go to the hardware store. So you send them to Ace Hardware. And in return, the owner of the Ace Hardware store knows that you're doing that, and they in turn overhear a conversation that somebody's thinking about moving. They remember that because you've built this relationship. The business starts to come back to you. Right? There's a chance for business affiliates. Business affiliates, the purpose would be to build a two-way referral relationship with each company. See companies that will send you referrals even if you're unable to reciprocate on a one-on-one basis, because they know you're working the issue and they understand that you're honest and sincere what you're doing, even though you may not be able to send them a referral for every time a referral is sent back. They don't mind sending you one anyway because they like the relationship you have with them. If you're able to apply the law of psychological reciprocity by giving them leads, that is great. But have the relationship such that if you can't, it's okay. How to establish the relationship? Well, the visit would be the same for each business. Ask them if they consider having a relationship where we would refer to them individuals needing their services, and they would forward to us individuals needing our services. No guarantees, just cooperation between business entities. Here's the script. Hi, I was wondering if we could set up a business relationship whereby we would forward to each other prospective customers. I would like to place you on my preferred list, and as people need your services, I would give them your name and phone number. Would you do the same for me? We're only talking a handful, right? Maybe a half a dozen. Practical examples of referral network. Create a business referral phone book of these trusted business relationships to hand out to your customers and the businesses wishing to participate. Same idea that Brian Buffini talks about. Matter of fact, he had a beautiful book. Do you remember it? It was gorgeous. Spent lots of money on it. Ours doesn't have to be that professional, but the idea works. Brian Buffini had a great idea when he came up with that, or whoever gave it to him. That's the great thing about real estate. We share a lot of ideas, right? We share them back and forth. But we could have our own little referral page. Doesn't have to be a book. We'd include the preferred business in our monthly newsletter that we send out to people. And the monthly newsletter we're sending out happens to be email now instead of mailed, right? And we conclude that these are the people that we really like. We've done business with them in the past. We've been very pleased with how they've treated us, and just wanted to share that with you in case you have their business needs too. And include a link to your website promoting these businesses and the relationship. That begins to cement the relationship. It's not just by word of mouth. But there is something there for them. Something where they see that there's meat in it. Now, a non-business relationship. There are many service organizations that are looking for membership additions. Some of these organizations are Rotary, Lions, Kiwanis, neighborhood associations, and so on. Promote yourself regularly so you'll be at the top of their minds when thinking of a real estate need. I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Jacksonville. There's about 300 members in the Rotary Club of Jacksonville. I get calls. I have to refer the calls, but I'm not active in the business. But I get calls because they know that I'm in real estate. And I remind them that I'm in real estate when I'm in there. If you're not a member of some organization, I would encourage you to do that. You know, people wonder in our business, we're always taking out of the community. Are we giving something back? Are we giving something back? And find an organization that works for you. And I may not have listed enough of them out there. And there's some of them that you belong to that I need to put on the list. I'd be happy to do that. But are you giving something back? And when you do that, when you give something back in your community, the people want to help you with what you do. But they need to know what you do for a living. I show up. I'm not allowed, at Rotary, I'm not allowed to wear my business name badge. So I have to tell them what I do. And with 300 members, do you think half of them remember what I do? No. So I have to keep telling them. Non-business relationships. Remember, after joining a service organization, spend time getting to know these folks in the organization. And as you know them, tell them what you do for a living and ask for referrals. You'd be amazed at how positive their response will be towards you. If you're in a service organization where you're giving back to the community and you tell them what you do for a living and you're there to support them, they're there to support you too. Well, introductory script. Hi, it's great meeting you. Oh, by the way, in these organizations, they usually do it over a meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And sometimes folks have a tendency to light with the same people that they've been with for a while. If you do join the organization, be sure you don't pick a table and stay there forever. Move around, meet other people, get to shake hands and see folks and tell them what you do for a living, ask them if you can help them in any way. This is where you have a memorable short description of how you conduct your business. And when I say memorable and short, no more than a minute. We're going to talk about the core values tomorrow. And what we're finding out in today's business is that if people move from one company to another, it's not the money. The reason they move is I want to have the relationship with somebody that has the same core values I do. I'm tired of being with companies that are using me to generate revenue. What I want to be is I want to be with a company that has the same core values that I do. Same business ethics. The old sales tool grouping. In looking at the 5 main groups, you may want a subgroup. For instance, remember in the old days, category A, you had your box of A group, you had your box of Bs, and your box of Cs, right? And the A group were the ones that what? You not only had an excellent relationship, but they've been sending you referrals all along. Group B is someone you need to develop more relationship with, and they may give you more referrals. Group C, they're not. There's nothing there, all right? But you'd like to cultivate, and then you can find out whether the Group C is alive and improve them, move up to Group B, or whether they have to drop out. But you can define it the old-fashioned way. How to cultivate relationships. Always be available as a realtor choice. In other words, do you know of someone who needs a realtor to help them with real estate needs? Category A, again, this works the same way as the other. Remember, speak with them no less than once a month. Send a handwritten note quarterly. Email information only after speaking with them, and be sure you send them information that relates to their needs. Drop in and see them from time to time, and ask for referrals. Category B, speak with them every other month. Discuss issues that better build rapport. Stay in touch with them on monthly emails. If the relationship is improving, send a handwritten note every other month and ask for referrals in every correspondence. And then C, speak with them quarterly about general topics, email them monthly, and ask for referrals. Here's the action plan. Write down the name of your friends, your past customers, business and non-business relationships. This is going to take you a while, but you need to do this. You won't be able to do it just sitting down and thinking about it. It won't come to you right away. You're going to have to spend some time. But you've got to write the names down. If you don't do step 1, you can't do any of the other steps because you don't know who and how you're going to stay in touch with people. Second thing we've got to do is sort out each one into the 4 groups and the 3 subcategories of excellent, good, and poor. So if we're going to write down the names of friends, past customers, business, and non-business relationships, we then, after we do that, we've got to sort them through that filter. It's very important because then I've got a plan of action for each one of those. So we have to sort them out. How long will this take you, do you think? It might take 3 or 4 hours. Most of you in here know a ton of people. Next, number 3, on paper, the type to contact plan for each of the subcategories. You've got to sit down and say, okay, now for category A, what is going to be my plan of attack? What specifically am I going to do for these folks? And then the next thing is I've got to figure out what system am I going to use. Am I going to use handwritten notes? Where am I going to get the notes? What are they going to look like? Are they just going to be little cards, that fold over and stick in an envelope? Very professionally done. So when they get them, they will read them. Today we get solicitations from people that put stuff in nice envelopes, don't we? We still open them up because we don't know what's inside. They'll even use some sort of handwritten script, it looks like, but it's computer generated. But when you get a real note that's handwritten from somebody, you always open it. You always open that handwritten note. Select the system you wish to use and then establish a flow chart to show how many of the contacts and what specific system you're going to use in the process. What I mean by flow chart's real simple. Is you have a little diagram, and okay, I've got a name. Let's say the name is Tom Isdale. All right, Tom Isdale is a category A, right? So I'm going to put him down. All right, now under category A, here's how I stay in touch. I'm going to call him once a month. Right? I'm going to send him a handwritten note every month. I'm also going to put him on my drip email, but it's going to be specific items he's going to receive. And I'm going to drop by and see him once a month. Now, how many of those people do I have in that category A that I can do that and actually fulfill that? It might be only 15 or 18 people. But I will do that for my category A people. Because these are the ones that will send you referrals. And what if that person sends you, out of the 18, what if you get 2 referrals a month out of 18 people? And these are people they know what? Want to have a transaction. That either going to sell or they're going to buy. That's up to me to make it work. But if I can generate 2 more commissions a month, remember we had what, $32,000 starting out of the door just because we're handing out a couple of business cards a day, right? What would I make? Let me back up. What if I was doing that and touching 5 people a day for 4 days? That's 20 people a week, right? 5 times 4 is 20. See, I'm not working 5 days a week on the card thing. All right, so 5 times 4 is 20, times 4 is 80, times 10 is 800. We said what, 10%, which is what, 80 contacts, of which 40 of them do business with me? The contact on the business card generates a tremendous amount of business. And then you go back and you talk to your friends and your spheres of influence, and you begin to just go back and have something in your calendar that you have to do every day. When you open your calendar up, okay, category B today. I'm going to do the following for my category, and these are the ones in the category B's I'm going to do too. So I've got 15 or 20 minutes every day when I'm being proactive in my business. Let me tell you a true story. And I can't remember the agent's name because at that time I was with Coldwell Banker. I go by and visit the office. The office is in Tallahassee. Their top agent in the company. The broker pulls me inside and says, listen, you've got to talk to, I'll make a name up, Tammy. You've got to talk to Tammy. I said, what's the matter? She said, my top agent, she's been the top agent in the office for 10 years, and her business is off by 70%. And she's thinking about quitting real estate. Could you talk to her? I said, okay, I don't have a clue what to talk about, but yeah, I'll be happy to. So we sit down with Tammy. I say, hey, Tammy, how's it going? She says, it's going terrible. It really is. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about getting out of business. And I said, well, why? She says, well, I used to make a lot of money, but this is the worst year I've ever had in real estate. Well, so tell me what's going on. What are you doing? She says, well, I've got 10 investment properties, and I'm doing the property management on it. And so, I've been pretty busy replacing screens and fixing Johnnies and painting up when people move and stuff. I said, okay. What else is going on? She says, well, I used to receive a lot of referrals, but I haven't been receiving any referrals from my past customers lately. I said, really? Tell me about your past customers. Well, I used to get a lot of referrals. They'd call me and say, they need to sell their house, and well, I'd go list the property and get it sold. And I said, great. Where'd they move to? She said, they moved out of town. Okay, so let me tell you. So you've been in business 10 years. You've got this huge customer base. And over the last 3 or 4 years, because when you first started 10 years ago, 5 years later, they come back on the market, right? So she hadn't been creating new business. What has she been doing after about 6 years in the business? She was living off of past customer business, right? But the past customers weren't moving in town. They were moving out of town. So what happened to her pool of past customers? That's more. And guess what? She stopped building a business about 4 years ago because all of her business was coming from past customers. She wasn't being proactive in reestablishing relationships and going out and building the business. So we started talking about that, and I said, do you remember what you used to do when you were building your business? She says, yeah, I do. Well, tell me what it was. And she told me, the building relationships, going out and touching base with people, staying in touch, letting people know that she was still in the business and so on, just what we're talking about here. And I said, well, are you willing to do that? And I said, by the way, I'd go hire a property manager because you're getting all your time eaten up with handling your 10 properties. You need to turn that over to somebody else and let them mess with it and pay the fee. You'll make a lot more by taking the time that you're spending on that by focusing on building a business. Saw her 6 months later, happy as can be, back up, number one in the office. Business has returned because she started building her business again. And that's all we're talking about here, is that with the market the way it is right now today, we can't wait for it to come to us. We have got to stimulate ourselves to step out and to start doing this. All right, now, what if I'm not a self-starter, Jen? What if I'm not the kind of person that will lay this in my calendar and go do this? Who can help me with this? Who's going to help me to go do the things I need to do? Let's say I write them down, and the next day I don't do them. And the next day after that I don't do them. And the next day after that I don't do them. Who can I get some help from? Tell me, who can you get some help from? Spouse? Excellent. Right? Honey, listen, I promised I was going to go out and hand out business cards to 3 people today. Will you ask me tonight if I did that when I get home? Sure. Broker relationships, right? Let's say I'm an executive in the system. I share with my broker. Hey, listen, I'm a self-starter, I'm an independent contractor, but I still want some help from you to hold me accountable. I don't want to interfere in my marriage by having my spouse oversee. I really have a problem with that. I just don't want to do that. So would you, as my broker, would you mind doing? And what I'll do is I'll bring you my activity sheet of what I'm going to do for the day. You see, I've got some Category A people I want to stay in touch with, and here are the people I'm going to contact, and here's what I'm going to do in this particular day for these folks. In this Category A, I've got 18 people, but I'm only going to drop by 3 of them. And they know I usually drop by on this Tuesday, the second Tuesday of the month. They know I always drop by and see them. Here are 3 people I'm going to drop by on. And by the way, I've got to write some handwritten notes to 5 people today. That's one of the things I'm going to do. And I know what I'm going to say to them. I just need to, it's going to take me 5 minutes to write 5 of them, because I only leave it to 2 sentences. And by the way, I need to set up an Executive Edge account for my Category Bs. I need to sift through the stuff. That's going to take me about 30 minutes, but I'm going to do that. And by the way, will you call me about 5 o'clock this afternoon and see if I got it all done?
Sure.
Great, thanks. Because you see, now you're operating under the 1-minute manager concept. How many have read the book, The 1-Minute Manager? Okay. How many are using the concepts of the 1-minute manager? Okay. The key is to be able to spool it up to the point to where the people are coming to you and they're seeking your help for about 1 minute. Right? Now, you see, I can still maintain the independent contractor relationship with you on that because you're not directing me. What I've done is I've come to you and sought help, and you're willing to matter of fact, if you're worried about that legally, I'll sign a statement. You write me a letter or a little document that says, I give you permission to oversee my activity. Which means I've given you permission to do that. You're not forcing it on me, which destroys the independent contractor relationship. See the difference? So I'm giving you permission in writing. Go ahead and do that. Now, at the end of the day, when you talk to me and say, okay, Ken, tell me what you found out. Well, I got it all done but 1. Well, what was the one thing you didn't get done? Well, I only got 3 of the handwritten notes written, not all 5. And your question is, when will you do the other 2? Right. No, you see, you direct it. You say, do them now. Can't do that, right, because we have that separation. So the question is, when will you do them? Okay, I'll sit down and do them now. Great. Let me know when you got them done. Does that make sense? What will happen if we begin to step out and start to create business instead of waiting for the business to come to us? We are going to do better than anybody else in the marketplace. The business is only so big, right? The pie is this large. What we want to do is take a nice chunk of that pie. If the other people have gone and hidden, they're running for cover because, well look how damaging it could be if you picked up USA Today, right? And you were just struggling along. The next thing said, oh, no, they raised the interest rate 0.5 point. I'm dead. Right? No. I think that's great. Call back my buyer and say, hey, you had a chance yesterday to get 0.5 point off. You better hurry before it goes up again. Knowing what? It's going to come down. You know, we can really make good lemonade out of these lemons that are out there in the marketplace. Everybody else is hidden. You guys are here. You've made a decision to sit through this seminar this afternoon because your business isn't where it ought to be. And all I'm asking you to do is step out there and be proactive in the marketplace and quit responding to it. Instead of the market driving you, I want you to drive the market. And you can do this. If you'll set this up, where you'll do these 9 things, study scripts until they're natural to you, set a plan of action by putting the plan into your daily calendar. This is where it works, is you lay your calendar out. Okay, on Tuesday I'm going to do this, on Wednesday I'm going to do this, who's I'm going to contact, and what I'm going to do about it. If you will lay that down on your calendar, you can schedule around that. If you have to contact people, that's going to be normal working hours. But if you've got to write notes, you can set that up, what? At 8 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock in the morning when you get up, you can write your notes. Notes don't take long, but you fill in blocks in your calendar of things that you're going to actually do to build your business, and the rest of the time flows around it. Do all of us have trouble with time management? We do, don't we? This is a big step in getting control of your time. Monitor the results of the contact program. Remember, the more detailed you make the program, the higher the return. Monitor the contact. All of a sudden, you start getting referrals in from the people you've been sending stuff out to. And now you're going to say, okay, I've been maintaining contact with 18 people, and out of the 18 in Category A, I've now gotten a lead. And now I've gotten another lead. Category B, I got a lead, and then I wait a while, I get another lead. Whereas before, I wasn't getting any leads hardly at all from Category A and none from B. So now I'm starting to build my business. And then it's my job to work those leads to make them successful. In summary, find your 4 active groups, the ones we talked about earlier. Sort them into subgroups. Set a plan of action for each subgroup. Begin the action plan, which is loaded into your daily calendar. And last, chart the results for the subgroup. This is it in a nutshell. This is the way we used to do it years ago. The reason we got away from it is our business got so busy that we relied on electronic stimulus to generate business for us, instead of doing it the way it was always done before, which is let's build a relationship, and after building that relationship, that person wants to do business with us. That will never change. Why is it today that even though 90% of the people go on the internet to look at houses before they buy, that instead of going to the seller directly, they still go through a realtor? Why do they do that? Remember they told us when this was going to happen, our business was going to die? Don't you remember they said, it's over. They'll just go in and they'll just buy from the seller. They're going to go on the internet and we're done. We're toast. Why aren't we toast? Absolutely. People still have to have a relationship today and they're going to have relationships tomorrow. We've gotten away from that. We've got to get back in it. I've got to encourage you. I can't tell you what to do. I've just got to encourage you. Consider this. Take a look at this. We're going to make this available. If you want to go back and look at the PowerPoint later on and see what the action steps are, you can pull it down and take a look at it and start to build your own plan of action. I'll tell you what, the business is going to be fun again. It's going to be exciting again when you start to do this, because as you take control of your business, as you begin to step forward in it and things start to occur, it's going to be fun. Instead of waiting for something to happen, you're going to make it happen. And that's the biggest difference between what we've been doing in the past and what you can do in the future. Make it happen.